All right. Hello, everyone. I hope this is live and you can all see us. Okay, good. Welcome to the Literary Apothecary. First, I want to thank all of my co-panelists today for joining us. We're just going to go around the virtual room and just introduce yourselves and your channel really quick, and then we'll get into talking about Senlin Ascends. Okay, we want to start with Joana?
Sure. So hello, I'm Joana from the channel Joana Sousa. I love to read fantasy. I try to read a little bit of sci-fi, but I mostly read fantasy and talk about it on my BookTube channel.
Yeah, I'm Klaus from the Contradictorian. I am the nicest person on BookTube with the best taste, and I'm here to talk about Senlin as well.
I'm Alan from the Library of Allenxandria. Senlin Ascends was the first book that I discovered after starting BookTube that I just that I loved. Like, it was the first thing that was like, yes! And you know, like, no, one was talking about it. And so now, like, I pass people in the street and hand them a copy of Senlin Ascends and say, you should read this. Like, have you read Senlin? And that's how that works.
Hello, Sophia. Ryan?
Hello, I'm Ryan from the channel Seeking Stories, and I think I talk about books and movies. I forget half the time. I have read Senlin Ascends because Alan is really Josiah Bancroft in disguise, and he's making everyone read the book because it's awesome. And Kate has been awesome at putting on this live stream.
I am Ola, I'm the Reading Witch. I read fantasy mostly, and I also do bookish terror-related videos. I did a prediction video on Senlin Ascends series, so if you want to watch that and let me know what you think about that, that would be great. I also read Senlin Ascends because of Ellen, because I'm about to selling books, and yeah, that's all.
I think we all did.
Yes, yeah. We all read Senlin Ascends just because of Ellen.
I remember when Alan first said Senlin Ascends, I thought it was all one word. I didn't understand like what Senlin Ascends was. Like, oh, it's two words.
So I thought maybe we'd start really quickly talking maybe some spoiler-free talks for those people that have joined that haven't read it yet, and then we can let them go off on their day and then get into the fun spoiler talks. So general spoiler-free thoughts. You guys got anything that you want to talk about?
So the writing, Bancroft's prose is incredible. Like, I was just talking to Christina because she's like, why do so many bad things happen in this book or in this series? And I'm like, I know, right? But it's like the way Bancroft writes is so whimsical, and just it is so tonally jarring for like kind of the dark, bleak things that happen inside the tower. The writing style doesn't match the bleakness. And I really like that because you as the reader kind of feel off balance about that. Like, I feel dirty about what's going on, but you have this nice whimsical, like really beautiful prose that is just, and it's just like, man, this place is terrible. Like, the Tour of Babel is just freaking terrible. And yet there's this soothing, you know, like this really soothing, like beautiful prose. And it's just really, really well done.
The prose is like Shire level of prose, or everything's cute, and then the plot is like Mordor.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's incredible.
And you throw in such a naive character like Senlin into the whole mix, and it's like this weird like dichotomy of it's irony really at its finest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think I really love the you know, they had the little things in the beginning of the other books, people that wrote other books about the tower, and then you read that and then you see what's happening, you're like, this is not the same. This is not what you described.
I think that's how Senlin felt too.
Yeah,
I love
That's
that.
kind of like the meme. I'm sorry, Kate. Stop it, Kate. Go. No, go.
Okay, I was just gonna say I love the contrast that it felt like reading it. It felt like a very fantastical and whimsical world, like you've all said, but it also felt like the Tower of Babel could be a real life place. Like, it felt both fantastical and made up, but totally real at the same time.
What I was about to say is that it's like the meme when you order it versus when you get it in the mail. That's basically that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like Senlin, like a lot of people, like I've watched a lot of people read this book, and either you identify with Senlin right away or it takes some time. to identify with Senlin. I, being a teacher and being kind of like the guy like Senlin who stands in the corner with a book at a party because, that's. Meanwhile, my wife is the one who plays the piano. Like, I immediately kind of identified with Maria as, and I know I pronounce it Maria. I know some of you guys say Maria. That's fine. But I immediately identified Christina as Maria and kind of me as like Senlin. And so, like, I was in it from the beginning. And I just love that Senlin is these people. When you're acting, like your theater teacher will tell you, you're supposed to be a real person in extraordinary circumstances, right? Mm-hmm. And I really felt that here with Senlin and the other characters, is these people feel like regular people. They have no powers. They have no skills. Like regular people in this incredibly extraordinary circumstance. And I'm not sure I would handle it any better than Senlin. Yeah. Like, I mean, at the beginning, people like, why does he stand there? Like, why does he stand there for so long? Mm-hmm. I mean, what else is he gonna do? He's not a fantasy hero. Like, he genuinely thinks that that's the best course of action to wait however long he waits for his wife.
Right.
I totally pictured you, Alan, as Senlin the entire time.
Sure. Yeah, and I also thought Christina as Maria. So me too.
We're gonna pitch it to Warner Brothers, guys. Alan and Senlin. Yeah,
the best casted movie ever.
I had like an Alan and a Indiana Jones merge as Senlin.
But it was so infuriating. Like what Alan said, he's that normal guy, that ordinary guy, and all of us are used to reading those grand fantasy characters who are so clever and great fighters, and then you have that ordinary guy, and it gets so infuriating how he's just making mistakes like we would make too, because we are ordinary people. Like when he's in trouble, he tells everybody his true name. He doesn't take on an alias or something. And we are like, Senlin, they're looking for you. Don't tell them your friggin' name. But it's
that's one thing Christina always turns to me and says when she's reading the book. She's like, why does she keep telling people his name? Like, stop.
I think Elliot in her video said that in the beginning it was a bit frustrating, and then she realized, wait, I am Senlin. I would react like this. And that was also, it's true, because you think, why are you trusting these people? You don't know them. And then, but realistically speaking, if someone came to you in that situation and would try to help you, you'd be like, all right, I guess. And so, yeah, it's very realistic. I love that about it.
Yeah, especially not knowing the world at all. And I think it's one of the great things that Bancroft does. He takes incredibly extraordinary world and he gives a situation where, like, I mean, we all kind of fear for losing some sort of family member in a crowd, whether, we're married or have a kid or a parent or anything like that. And he makes it so relatable and gives us that desire line that carries throughout the entire book. Like, I am just here to find my wife. That's all I care about. And we can relate to that in some way. We care about finding someone. And I feel like that's why we accept the world of the Tower, which is so ridiculous so quickly, because we understand that this character's desire line can match what we can identify with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%.
And also, when the stakes are so personally high, you just don't completely care about the rest. You just go for what you want. It's like tunnel vision. You just go for it, and whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
And Senlin, like, from reading the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Tower, essentially, like Senlin is from a small village where everyone's kind of trustworthy. Like, he's never been to the big city, which is the Tower, right? Like, so he, it's like the country guy that goes to New York City for the first time and like trusts everyone trying to sell them something. Hey, I'm going to sell you this Rolex watch for $50. Yeah. Like, I just have a surplus. No, it's here you go. Like, great deal of the day because you're my millionth customer or whatever. Like, oh, really? Oh, me? I'm so honored. Like,
I'm making 500.
Yeah, he doesn't know that everyone in this place is crooked, and that's one thing I love, is that it shows Senlin, who is this guy who has principles in this place that corrupts principles, and it does not allow for, like, you cannot exist in the Tower with principles. And that is what the Tower strips from everybody. We meet all these characters who may once have had dreams, goals, principles, and the Tower has stripped all that away. And watching Senlin struggle against that is what makes him one of my favorite characters that I read last year, is the fact that he's like, I'm not going to let the tower turn me into these people. Like, I'm not. Like, I am going to be Senlin regardless.
Right.
Even when people are like, why do you keep doing this? Like, why do you trust these people and all this stuff? So it's really just really, really good.
Yeah. Well, and on that note, there's a moment near the end. I'm not going to spoil it because we're in the spoiler-free section, but Senlin has to make that choice. Am I going to become like the people, or am I going to still, develop as a character, but choose to remain as close to who I am as possible? And he has to confront that.
I also feel that it took a while for Senlin to realize that he had to get to the point to make that choice. It was not immediate. I think in the beginning it felt like it was okay. I can deal with this kind of, maybe I have the guide, right? But then changes.
Yeah.
I love the guide.
Guide's great.
Yeah.
And
I like how he always asks himself, if I do this and this, would my wife recognize me when she sees me? And would my students recognize me when I go back? And that's something that he keeps on coming back to that. And I just really like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I've compared it to Lord of the Rings. I think I've called Lord of the Rings vertically, because it feels like the tower is the big temptation and tries to bring Senlin down in a way, like the ring tries to bring Frodo down. So I guess Alan won't agree with me, but it sort of is. And these ringdoms sort of represent, each of them are their own kingdoms. And if you look at Lord of the Rings, they're traveling across the map, and Senlin is basically traveling up the map. And it's the temptation and him staying true to himself and remaining honest, although he's being tempted all the time by the tower. And I just realized that when reading the second book, but it's true for the first one as well, because it starts out pretty innocent until we get into a certain ringdom, and then then it's not innocent anymore at all. It's incredible.
That's a great comparison.
Senlin is just Samwise, right, Alan?
No.
Yeah.
It feels like when I was reading, I was like, this feels so weird. Like, it felt like a combination of Lord of the Rings, Alice in Wonderland, Gulliver's Travels, The Phantom Toll Booth. Like, it felt like a bunch of those, like, really, like, classical, like, weird places, like, kind of all, like, rolled into one with, like, some Dickens thrown in there as well. I was just like, this is unlike anything I'd ever read, because, again, like, I started BookTube like coming off of not reading fantasy for a long time, and for the last year, all I had read was trying to catch up. My wife actually got me back into reading with Name of the Wind, and then I read Wise Man's Fear, and then I was like, well, I started Malazan, 5 years ago, or whatever, or my last attempt with Malazan was 5 years ago. So all I've been reading for the last year was Malazan books, and then I started BookTube, and my wife actually picked. I was like, hey, which one of these you want me to read? And she picked Senlin. And so
yay, thank you, Christina.
I know, yeah. She's right over here.
Without her.
So we really have Christina to thank for all of us reading Senlin instead of Alan.
It's so
I never doubted that.
Kristen, it's exactly like that.
It's like Alan in Wonderland, yeah.
Phantom Toll Booth, that's a great analogy too. I never would have made that connection, but that absolutely makes sense.
Yeah.
I had heard people, or maybe read reviews, I don't know, connecting also Senlin with Dante's Inferno.
But reversed.
Yeah.
Going up instead of down.
I cannot say it's like Paradiso, because that is getting better and better and holier and sweet and kind of too much. But the Inferno kind of thing is, I don't know. I was confused about that, because there are disconnects, but I can see the point, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Kristen says that her dad said it felt like Alice in Wonderland with Oliver Twist and Treasure Island.
But Kristen said also did not realize it was a series. It got to the end of the book and like,
no.
what happens?
That would be crazy.
Yeah. It's just so unlike anything I had read at the time. And it's just like, and Bancroft's prose, I can't say enough about it. And it's just, it feels classic, but without being like dense, like it doesn't feel, it's not hard to read at all. And he just makes these like really specific, bizarre analogies and stuff. And it's just like, it is exactly like that. But I never would have thought to compare it to that.
Yeah.
And can we just talk for a second about how much of a nice guy Josiah Bancroft seems like. Just on like his social media, he's a very, very engaging with his friends, and I just love just seeing his interaction with his fans on Twitter, and like he's recognized Ellen as the super Senlin fan now.
Has he really?
Yes.
That's so awesome.
But Orbit hasn't.
Just seeing his interaction has made him an auto-buy author for me. Even if his books were total crap, which obviously they aren't, I would still buy his books just to support him.
Oh yeah, I'm excited for his next project. Like he's linked some like handwritten stuff that he's written. I'll buy whatever he writes. And he's super nice. And he told the story of like when it was self-published, like his mom would literally give people give people copies in like the grocery store, or tell people in the grocery store that her son wrote a book, which is that's the most amazing thing. Like he has a good mom.
Yeah. I can't wait for your show with him, Alan.
I mean, he hasn't agreed to it yet, but I'm hoping he will.
He seems like the type of guy that would be totally down for it.
I'm hoping to ask him, and hopefully he'll come on my channel.
Yeah,
with his
that
mom.
needs to happen.
That's so cool.
Because I have.
Anyone listen to the audiobooks?
I listen to
not.
Okay, I did too. And what did you think? Because I think the audiobooks, they were amazing. I don't know if you
I only listened to Senlin Ascends. I have just read that one, so I can speak about the other books. But I thought it was great personally. I did not have problems with it, and sometimes I do have problems with audiobooks. So yes, that's a good point.
That's good.
Yeah, I really liked it because for example, in sentences where it says so-and-so replied while laughing, the narrator would actually laugh when he was reading the reply. It's really good. Like if you one time think about listening to them, highly recommend.
Yeah. One thing that I really like about the narrator was, especially in the very beginning, in the first kingdom, I'm not going to spoil anything, don't worry, but there was a very innocent kind of voice that he had, like surprise, like what the fuck, yeah, what? And the voice was really conveying that feeling of I'm here and what's happening around me, I guess. So it helped, I guess, even more with the atmosphere, which was already great. I think that something that we can all agree on is that the quality of the writing in this book is absolutely awesome, regardless if it's your thing or not. It's just
Yeah. Well, and the cool thing too is that like Bancroft has like said that like he struggles like writing, like it doesn't come easy to him. Like it's fascinating to see someone write such a great story. But he even, I found an article, I need to find it and send it to everyone, but he basically says my writing process involves a lot of muttering with frequent pauses to chastise the rabbits for eating the furniture.
It's amazing because it seems like just reading it seems like the type of writing that would just come so easily. He just sits down. One of my favorite writing quotes is by Hemingway, and he says, "You just sit at the typewriter and bleed." And just reading Bancroft's prose, it just feels like that's what he did. And his world just sucked me in instantly and just kept me engaged throughout the whole entire book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he said, he has a daily goal of 1,000 words a day, which is what they recommend for a lot of starting writers. Just write 100 words a day, 500, get to 1,000, and just do that. Yeah. And that's his goal. He says, I just write 1,000 words a day. I delete the next day half of what I wrote and start over in a way. And I walk around the house and I try to garden in the meanwhile. Like he struggles, and it's like you're saying, it's brilliant how effortless he makes it seem.
Yeah, yeah. Bancroft, he's such a classy guy. Like,
oh yeah.
When I finished Senlin Ascends, I immediately found his email on on Publish or whatever, and I sent him an email and I said, "Oh my gosh, I love this book!" Way more words than that, and he responded the next day and was super, super nice. And I was like, yes!
That's amazing.
Well, I know we're pressed for time because Ellen and Klaus have to go later to talk about Morning Star. So do we want to go into spoilers?
Yeah, let's please talk about spoilers.
Okay.
Yes.
So first, let's talk about our favorite character, which can be spoiler-free or spoiler, depending on how much in-depth you want to go into. So who were your guys' favorite characters in? We're just talking Senlin Ascends here because Ryan and I haven't moved on and Ola hasn't moved on. So sticking just to Senlin Ascends, the first book.
My favorite character is Thomas Senlin. It's Senlin. After the next books, it is very, very close between Senlin and Edith. Yeah. But for the first book, it is definitely Senlin, and it stays Senlin, but Edith gets very close.
I think Edith is probably the most fascinating character in a way. Like I love Senlin, but you know his backstory and all that. And Edith, there's just so much mystery. Like she gives her backstory, but you wonder like how much is she not telling? And then she turns into the freaking Winter Soldier at the end. You wonder what happened with that.
She's the Winter's Soldier.
Oh yes, I like that.
Oh God.
It was so terrible, but so good.
It totally caught me off guard. There are so many great characters in this book. Like I feel like he took a page out of Dickens in creating his characters in this book. Because there's like, it's so hard for me to pick favorites on anything, but to pick a favorite character here, this was one of Klaus's questions. So, but I was like trying to figure out what my answer for this question is. I'm like, I loved Senlin because he's just so relatable. I loved Maria because at the beginning when we first see her, she's just like, you know, this happy-go-lucky girl that plays the piano, and I just kept picturing Christina this whole time because Alan is Senlin, so Christina has to be the wife, and she plays piano, and Christina is a musician, and she just seemed so happy and in love with Senlin. And then we met Taru, and Taru was just the character that you wanted to love so much, for me at least. And then you see he ends up as a hot, and I was like, no, Taru, no.
And then Finn Gull is an old, evil, artful Dodger.
Yes.
There were so many great characters. I couldn't pick just one.
You know who's not a great character? Adam.
Oh,
Adam. Nobody likes you, Adam, except maybe Klaus.
Nope.
That's why Bancroft made him lose his eye, so that we feel bad for him.
I don't feel bad for him.
But he did have his like principles. Like Adam was not a favorite character. I don't think he was as developed as some of the other characters, but he still had his principles in a way that he was there to try to help his sister get out of the craziness that she was in, because he felt guilty because she was there because of him.
He sold out Senlin to Commissioner Pound. I don't care why he did it. He is on my hit list.
Okay, so Greg loves Adam.
Justify the means. The end doesn't justify the means. No.
That's right. I'm with you, Klaus.
But guess who my favorite character is? I guess nobody is surprised.
Who is it?
It's the Red Hand.
No one is surprised.
No one is surprised. Okay, we've got two people that loved Adam. So
the Red Hand is so creepy. Like his little frog face and his little hat, and like his
fascinating character. And just doing his job all the time. He's just himself. He's a
dedicated employee.
The Red Hand is not your favorite character. I do not believe it. Okay.
My favorite is Senlin. Senlin is
a character that, well, I won't say much because it's more in the second book, but someone that I think is very interesting is Irene. I don't know how you pronounce her name, but in book one she's very interesting, but yeah, I like her too.
I hope we see more character development from her. She is fascinating.
Yeah. I honestly,
Alan knows.
I really want to know more of Maria personally, because Senlin was my favorite. Edith was obviously so close, and I just want to learn something more. But Maria, I want to learn so much more about her that I'm so curious. And that maybe was even a little bit of a problem with me, that I wanted to get closer to Maria, but we never got there. So
the character development in general over the next two books is just really, really good. Like it's some of my favorite character work that I read last year. Like I love all of the characters. Like, except Adam. Adam sucks. But,
I still think Maria is going to be the antagonist by the end of the story. I feel like the tower is changing Senlin. It has to be changing Maria. They say at the beginning, like she says, "I'll meet you at the top of the tower if we lose each other." It's like we know that's where the story's going to end. I really think they're going to be like on different sides at that point. I hope that's not the case, but I feel like they can't not.
I guess you're gonna have to.
That's my guess as well.
I guess so.
Guess you're gonna have to read
because it's a lot of sort of unreliable narration, because we have just mostly Senlin's perspective in the first book, and all the time we see Maria being put on that pedestal, like she's so perfect and he loves her so much. But maybe it isn't the other way around, because he's a lot older than her when he married her, and so we don't really know, does she really love him back, or is that just what he wants to see? Because
this is hurting me. This is hurting me. The part where Selin recollects the memories of when he asked Maria to marry, that was so sweet.
Yeah. That was really sweet, yeah. But is it true? Maybe it's just Senlin lying to us all the time. Who knows?
It could be.
I've read Lolita. Who knows?
Yeah, I really like the flashbacks with him and Maria. Like, I thought it was, I don't know.
Yeah. It gave something to their relationship that because they were separated so early in the book, we didn't really get to see their like current day relationship. So it gave depth to the relationship and gave like depth and reason to why Senlin is going through all of these crazy things to find his wife that he's been married to for like a month.
Yeah.
And it made us care as readers, because if we hadn't seen her at all, I'd be like, I don't care why you want to find her. I mean, I guess she's your wife, but we don't know her. But here
it made her a real character.
Yeah. Bancroft is really judicious in his flashbacks. I think this makes him nice because he could go the Sanderson route, way of King's-esque, and just throw in 1,000 of them, and it's too much. But it gives us just enough to make us care, like you were saying, without making it go overboard.
Yeah. And Greg makes a great point that the flashbacks give us a glimpse of Senlin and Maria in a place and a time when they were comfortable, whereas now that they're in the tower, everything is thrown out the window. So we get to see them kind of normalized too.
A lesser writer would have started the book with all those flashbacks, but we wouldn't have cared at that point. But now we get those little snippets and we care because we care about Senlin.
Yeah.
That's what's so great about Six of Crows, Ellen. It has great flashbacks.
I like the difference between parts 2 and part 3, where we stop getting the epigraphs from the Tower Guide and we start getting epigraphs from Senlin's journal, where he has realized that, okay, what I was doing isn't working. I've got to make some compromises here. While he still wants to maintain his integrity, but he's got to alter his stubbornness. Like, he has to let go of his pure stubbornness. Like, I'm going to be this like straight arrow. I'm going to like do everything the way that I think it should be done, which does not work for him. And so now we see him get his hands a little dirty and become kind of like less naive and slightly harder, while still maintaining that essential goodness about him when he's working for Fengal. Like, he's not gonna kill anybody or any of that thing. And he tries to teach Irene to read, which I really like. I think that's just a really like cool moment between him and her, because he knows like he's got to have allies if he's gonna get around. So everything he's doing is in service of being able to steal a ship and get out. But there are lines he's not willing to cross. Like, he's not going to kill people to do it. And did you guys see it coming that Adam was going to sell it out? I did kind of at the end, because I'm like, why does this man keep asking about this freaking painting?
Yeah,
exactly.
Like, stop.
Yeah.
I saw it coming, but I was still surprised by it. Like, I had that like Spidey sense feeling that it was going to happen, but I was really hoping it wouldn't happen. And then at the end it did, and I'm like, no, Adam, no.
I never liked Adam. I don't like you. I don't trust you. So when it happened, I was like, haha, see? But I did not know what it was going to happen. Just, I did not like him. Gut feeling like that.
Once a cheater, always a cheater. I wasn't surprised by that. No.
Yeah. Freaking Adam.
Yeah.
So let's transition to our favorite scene.
I have one.
Okay, Klaus, you go first.
In the parlor, when that random guy overacts completely and shoots the other guy, and Edith and Senlin realize that, oh my god, this is serious.
That's my theory as well.
It was so whimsical, everything was so cute, and we thought like, okay, it's gonna be fine, he's gonna follow her, he's gonna find her, everything's fine, and then, oh, this isn't nice. I love that scene.
That was the moment I was referring before, when I was talking about the audiobook, and the moment of innocence was like, but he killed the man, and it was so well done there. I thought that was great.
have a scene. I was flipping through my book to find it. It's the scene where we're doing spoilers, so it's fine. Where Edith gets branded and he doesn't want to go away. He's like, nope, I'm staying here until it happens. And the nurse like, no, just go. And nope, I'm staying. And I know it shows that I just love what it shows for them, but also for Senlin, that he lost Mari and he doesn't want to lose Edith and he doesn't want to leave her alone and let her go through this alone. And I just really love that moment.
I think my favorite scene is weird because I usually choose like a character moment, like you guys are saying, but the one that like stuck out to me the most is when Senlin starts to put two and two together and realizes like this tower is like a freaking machine. Like every ringdom has a purpose. For me, it's like, oh man, like what's in the other like rings? I want to know now, and that is just the thing that stuck with me since finishing the book about a month ago the most. Like I just want to know what's up with that tower. Yeah. Why is it doing those things?
I think for me, my favorite was just kind of the ending overall, not just like one specific scene, because I have such a hard time picking any kind of favorites, but just when we saw like all of the parts coming into play and all of the characters just ending up in the same area together that we've met throughout the book, and Edith comes back with her arm, and then that connects to like the red arm, and he comes in, and just everyone comes together in this crazy battle scene that feels just like both realistic and fantastical at the same time, and you have no idea what's going to happen to anyone until it does. And I just like, I hit that moment and I'm like, I can't stop reading right now. Even if a chapter ends, usually I read like chapter by chapter because I'm reading several books at the same time. But I was like, I just have to finish this book at this point. I can't stop now.
It felt like a Sanderlanche in that moment where
it did.
The last pages of Sander said you can't stop. It was like it was a Bancroft land.
Yeah, I love the ending as well. Like when Senlin executes his plan and he sees that, oh crap. Like it was just so Senlin. Like he had planned everything out and then it starts to go wrong. And I'm like, oh, that's par for the course, Tom. You know, and just how they deal with it, him and Edith and Irene and Adam dealing with Fingal showing up and whatever the guy's name was that runs the brothel or whatever. And you know, Edith throws the red hand off the freaking tower. Suck it, the red hand. Like I just loved all that. Like watching them, you know, have to adapt and improvise because it's gone wrong, but still managing to get away and helming that. And like where is it? Like Kristen said, though, when, you know, Senlin recognizes his, you know, embraces his leadership and says aye, and, you know, Edith becomes Mr. Winters because she's the, you know, she's not the captain, but she's the first mate. Like it's just all so good. It's all so good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's just great how he takes. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. I was just saying that probably my favorite scene. I was already saying that it was the one in the parlor, but I also really loved that flashback that I was mentioning before.
Yeah,
that was one of the best moments, personally.
Yeah.
Senlin, or Bancroft rather, he takes all these very episodic feeling scenes at the beginning and gives them purpose at the end, and that's the thing I just love so much. It's like Edith, Adam, all these characters, they almost seem like throwaway characters being like, what's the point? But then they all come back. It's like, oh, you were like pulling all the strings from right from the beginning. Just the way he was able to like draw that narrative together to like a funnel at the end was so great.
I completely understand, but that was exactly the problem that I had with the book, because I personally struggle with episodic kind of storytelling. I always have, and it was just that it was breaking it up for me, and then I got to the end, I was like, okay, cool, but meanwhile, my brain could not do it, I guess. It's just a me thing.
I get that.
Yeah. That was the half star that was missing for me.
It was what?
That was the half star. I gave it 4.5 stars because of that. Because it was like a TV show. So you have one episode with that dwarf, and then it's the next one. In the end, you realize, oh, it is a movie after all.
Yeah.
It was. There could have been some hints in between, so they should have been mentioned once or twice, and then I would have been completely fine with it.
Did you find that better in book 2?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Klaus, I think that solves a problem for me, because I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I typically don't do half stars because Michael Nipp doesn't either. I'm kidding. I felt like it's really good, but a little something is missing, and I think you just nailed it for me. I think that's why too.
I give everything I read 5 stars. So
You're a 5-star strumpet. Everybody knows so. Yeah.
I am the trollop of 5 stars.
You and Leslie both give everything 5 stars. I don't trust you guys' 5-star opinions anymore.
I mean, if I really enjoyed it, if I really enjoyed it, like now every now and then I'll go back and I'll be like, you know what, like this is like with the Poppy War, I gave the first 2 books 5 stars, and then like after thinking about it, I'm like, you know what, I really enjoyed these, but like there's something that's keeping them from being kind of like my new favorites, and so then I'll be like, yeah, I drop it down to like 4.5. I think the Red Rising trilogy is like that for me. Like I really enjoyed them, but there's just something. There's something about it that is just not. It's not going to be like I really like them, and I'm going to read the 6th book I'm going to finish the series and read whatever he puts out for sure. But it's just like not going to be like my ultimate favorites. And so so like I react in the moment of finishing it, but then I can re-examine later. And Senlin has only risen in my like I probably would have given one of the Senlin books a superb plus, like my 6-star rating, like I did the ending of The Greatcoats, which was probably my favorite book I read last year. Ooh. So that and Long Price Quartet, which if y'all haven't read, y'all need to read that. Klaus will back me up here.
I should have added that to the Allen challenge, but
oh my gosh,
we decided to add ACOTAR instead.
So good.
I love ACOTAR. Thanks for including ACOTAR. Totally.
You hated it.
I'm switching Long Price Quartet for ACOTAR.
I'm still waiting for someone to send me a copy of it.
For me, it was 5 stars because one of my criteria, very loose criteria for 5 stars compared to 4 stars, is that it sucks me in and it keeps me engaged throughout the whole book. Whereas like a 4-star book will be really exciting and interesting, but then there's like a couple parts that are kind of boring or not as interesting as other parts in the book. But for me, Senlin, I was just engaged throughout the whole book, and I think I was like halfway through the book where I just said, okay, all the other books I'm reading are going to take a back seat to Senlin because I just have to keep reading Senlin. I can't stop reading it. And so that's the main reason why Senlin Ascends was a 5-star read for me compared to a 4-star read. I couldn't stop thinking about it after I finished it. I just kept thinking about the book and the characters and everything going on.
Yeah. I think books for me to be 5 stars has to have some kind of like underlying principle, like books that are about like standing for something. And I think that may be the very problem I had with Poppy War is like Ren doesn't stand for anything. Like I get it and it's really good, but there's no like underlying like stance that they're taking other than like, you know, let's win the war, right?
It sounds like you're saying it's not thematically strong enough.
Yeah, with the specific themes that I really enjoy,
right.
like virtue, principle, justice, that kind of thing. It's why Mistborn, the first freaking Mistborn, it's as if it was written for me. Like, are you kidding me? Like, get him, Kelsier!
The revolution. I think you're gonna like Words of Radiance then.
First, Klaus told me not to.
Klaus and I have pretty similar opinions on Way of Kings.
So none of us want to be stuck in the tower, obviously. But if we were stuck in the tower, which ringdom, if you could choose, which ringdom would you be stuck on?
Do I have to choose from first book?
Yes.
Oh, the bath.
The bath.
The baths, because the parlor, I will get shot. And the basement, I guess I could ride the beer me go round. I'm going to pick the baths, and especially if I have a trust fund like Taru does.
Sure.
I think I'm going to go with New Babel just because I like the steampunky feel to it, and I'm a sucker for that. But none of them are great, guys.
You're going to be a dock worker, Ryan.
Yeah, pretty much. That's the least worst out of all of them, I think.
I think I would go with the dock also just because it would give me a sense that I'm working towards something instead of just enjoying myself on this weird, crappy vacation. it would give me a sense of purpose. I would feel lost without any kind of sense of purpose.
Yeah, but that purpose is a lie. Like, you're not actually making any money to move on. Like, they're just tricking you. At least in the bads, I'm well aware I'm going nowhere.
But you turn into a prune. You could be a grape like Klaus.
Look, you guys can take value in your yeoman's work. That's fine. I will be chilling out and drinking wine and hanging out with old jeers.
Okay, guys, just hear me out for a second. There needs to be a reality TV show starring Alan in the parlor. I would pay to see that.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, I would.
It looks like you'll
Yeah.
have lots of friends in the best. Katrina
I would
also
also
does
pick
the
the
best.
Silgar too.
I would like to be in the parlor, of course, because I love acting.
Of course.
I love acting. I love shooting people.
I love shooting. All the drama for Klaus.
Cut that out.
And Kate says free beer in the basement. So,
That's also nice, yeah.
I mean,
I guess I would pick either the basement or New Babel because I could never. I can't even lie successfully in life. I could not be in the parlor. I just suck at that. So I'd be shot probably as well, or I might shot someone and get into trouble. And in the bath, I just don't like humidity. I can't.
I'm with you there.
okay, so we've got just about 15 minutes left. What else do we want to talk about? Is there anything that you're dying to talk about now?
What would a movie look like? Other than Alan's playing Senlin.
I actually like the movie version. Like, could this movie be done not animated? Like, could it? And if it was, would it have to be done by, was it Guillermo del Toro? Does it have to be done by Pan's Labyrinth guy? Like, here's what I'm worried about. Freaking Tim Burton is going to get his grubby little hands on it. And it's going to be Johnny Bloody Depp as Senlin and Helena freaking Bonham Carter as Maria. And everything's going to be all even weirder than it needs to be. And it's going to be terrible. Stay away, Tim Burton. You don't need to touch everything that has even the tiniest bit of whimsy. Stop it. Stop it.
And this is my favorite Alan rant of all time.
Yes.
I hope he's watching.
Guys, do you not see it? Do you not see like Tim
Yeah.
Burton being
I see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Picture
I
as
was so mad.
I forget the director's name, but the guy that did the Hollywood movie with Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt.
Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah,
Tarantino.
I picture it
That's
being
what
like
I
a
wanted to say
Quentin
is-
Tarantino type of movie.
There's
Oh,
not
man.
nearly enough
Violent.
cussing. There's not nearly enough cussing in this book. To be
Yeah. But that scene in the parlor would
the
have
red
been-
hand would be all over the place.
But the scene in the parlor where suddenly everything erupts into violence, that would be perfect for Tarantino. But I would like to see that. There was this war movie last year, 1917, where the entire movie was just one camera shot.
Oh, yeah,
so they followed these two soldiers around, and that would be so awesome. Like following only Senlin over his shoulder, how he travels to the tower. That'd be completely awesome.
Ooh.
Yeah.
But also
Let's hire
maybe,
Klaus to direct this.
maybe Lerman also is the director of Moulin Rouge. That's pretty weird and whimsical. So
That's true.
Maybe we have a
that would
different
be-
director for each ringdom.
that would be awesome. That would be probably a huge fail or the biggest success. I don't know.
Either or.
Yeah, you're right. Freaking Helena Bonham Carter
Yeah.
is even worse.
I feel
Yeah.
like Helena Bonham Carter is too eccentric to be Maria.
That's
Like
the
Maria
problem.
seems like such a
Mhm.
nice character. She's
Yeah.
too tame for Helena.
Yeah, and I think she's too old now, technically.
Makeup can make you look anyway.
Or
They've got
digital.
all yeah.
Yeah. De-age
Needs to be
them.
a BookTube production.
Supposedly Ryan has a list of all the characters. He's
I guess so. I don't
Actors
know.
are-
I don't remember this list, Kristen. I'm sorry.
no.
Who would play? Is Peter Dinklage like the go-to Finn Goal? Because you know,
I guess he has to be.
I mean,
That would be great.
Warwick Davis.
yeah.
the other one.
Warwick Davis is like 90 now, isn't he? Like
No,
Warwick
he's
Davis
like
is old.
50.
but yeah.
Is he? Oh, are you sure?
Yeah, he was only like 10 when they filmed Return of the Jedi. He was born in like 1972.
He was in Willow. Wasn't he old in Willow? Wasn't he like
Oh, he was like 20,
Oh,
20 something.
never
He
mind.
was old in
I don't
Harry
know.
Potter, and Harry
Yeah.
Potter was 20 years ago, so
Yeah.
he has to be 60
Look
at
how
least.
old Warwick Davis is.
Brienne of Tarth for Irene.
Would work.
I mean,
I
yeah,
like it.
big.
I mean, who would play Senlin? Alan, the
I have
Yeah.
like
Who else?
It's
Like-
the only acceptable answer.
I have literally not made since I filmed my review on Senlin. I have wanted to do Ryan's adapted book tag.
Oh,
But
do it.
I've always been stuck. I haven't been able to figure out who would play Senlin, and so I just don't film it. I
Oh,
don't
no,
know.
I need
who
this video, Alan.
Would want to see play Thomas Senlin. Like I can't think of any actor that I would like. I mean, maybe like
What about
I don't
Tom
know, like-
Hiddleston?
no, like
No, too pretty for
Yeah,
Senlin.
he's more of a Kelsier.
Like
Yeah.
if Gary Oldman was younger, like I think he would have done a good
yeah.
job when he was younger, but he's too old now.
All the
Yeah.
actors that I can think
That's
of.
why it's called
are-
Old Man, you know?
Yeah.
My image is just Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones with Alan's face over it.
Okay, I picture Senlin looking. Did you guys ever see the Disney Sleepy Hollow, The Legend of Ichabod
Yeah.
Crane? I
think so,
picture
yeah.
Senlin as Ichabod Crane from that freaking cartoon, where it's just like really tall and lanky, huge Adam's apple, like just really gangly. Like that's always how I picture Senlin. But you know,
By
he's in
the
it-
way, Ellen,
Yeah.
Warwick Davis is 51 years old.
okay,
There,
then
called it.
Oh.
50 years old.
I was wrong.
51.
90.
You know, I have a pick for Senlin. The guy from Outlander who plays that violent guy, he's in Game of Thrones as well. He plays Edmure Tully. What's his name?
Yeah. He would
yeah.
he would be really good. I know I have the image in your head.
Because
in my head.
he can play that confused, being completely overwhelmed sort of guy.
That would work, yeah.
Um,
His name is Tobias Menzies.
yeah,
Tobias Menzies,
Oh,
yeah.
he's from the
I
Crown,
can see him
think.
playing
yeah,
Senlin.
he's in The Crown also.
Yeah.
And he looks
Yeah,
a bit
what-
like Ellen, so
Yeah, I haven't seen him in Game of Thrones, but I'm looking at a picture of him right now. He looks like he could play Senlin. I don't know if
Yeah.
him as an actor, but
Alexander Skarsgård, the only thing I've seen him in is The Legend of Tarzan.
Skarsgård's too pretty, way too pretty.
Yeah. What about Joseph Gordon-Levitt?
what about Danny DeVito?
No, Danny DeVito could be Finn Gall.
Yeah, he could be Fingal.
Yeah.
That would be a great Fingal.
Like the thing is, like the casting, just because of just the series, like the casting has to be so perfect for Senlin and Edith and Valletta and Iron. Adam, you know, who cares? Anybody could play Adam. Adam sucks. I hate Adam. But yeah, so Matthew Gray Goobler, he's too weird, I think.
But he's an actor.
Matthew
Yeah.
Spencer Reed-
Matthew McConaughey, yeah, totally.
Matthew McConaughey can be the red hand.
But I've
All right,
also
all right,
only
all
ever
right.
seen Matthew Gray Goobler as
Anything other than Spencer
Right.
Reed.
right.
Yeah,
I
I don't
haven't
think he's
seen
ever
him
played anything else.
outside of Criminal Minds. So
Yeah.
to say he's too weird and quirky is just a compliment to his acting as Spencer, I think.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
true.
you could. Jim Parsons could be Senlin.
Oh,
he's
goodness.
even more weird.
He's
someone
way-
with doesn't lean.
Someone who doesn't lean, says Greg.
you get Mandy Patinkin as Commissioner Pound.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. So the casting is to be as great as for Shadow and Bone, Ellen. I think. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Like, no, if they did it and it was just a bunch of generically attractive people, like that's the thing. Though.
Leaning against the tower. Yeah. Terrible.
None of these people are exceptionally good looking. Like none of them. They're just
Right.
they're
Average.
regular people, and to freaking Hollywoodize them. This is the thing. This movie would have to be made in the UK. Like this has to be a UK movie. It can't be an American movie because American cinema casts based on appearance, where British cinema casts based on the ability to actually act. And so
Yep.
it must be made. It can't be made here because Hollywood will just be like, what are the most attractive people we can get for a Senlin? And then they'll add some kind of like sexy encounter. And then no.
Yeah.
Or the
No.
big names. They always go for the big names. Who's popular now?
It
I
needs to
don't
be
know.
made in New Zealand, honestly.
That would be
Peter
great.
Jackson would make a good Senlin.
Yeah. What about Giroux?
That's not true. He made The Hobbit and The Hobbit.
He made The Hobbit.
What happened? Like what happened?
He did that. I don't know. It was just bad. The Hobbit. I am still in pain.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's.
I have no idea how to pronounce the name that Kristen mentioned, but I think it's Ian Griffith. I think it's how you pronounce it. The guy from he was the original Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four.
He played like Horatio Hornblower.
Yeah,
I think he's too handsome.
Everyone's too handsome to play Senlin.
Yeah, I mean, it needs to be like a regular person.
We just need to cast Alan as Senlin. That solves the problem.
So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep making Senlin Ascend videos like once a week until some film studio hires me to direct it, and then I'll cast Alan.
I'm half insulted by this conversation.
That's not what we meant, so.
You know, everyone's too handsome. Let's get Alan to do it.
I only say that because that is the image of Senlin I have.
I get it. It's fine.
Like, you are Senlin. So
if I was born 100 years ago, I would absolutely be Senlin. I would be like the stuffy headmaster.
He needs some sideburns though somewhere. He's gonna focus.
We can do that.
Yeah,
that cover, like the fact that that's his friend that made the cover.
I know.
Like
that's so cool. Yeah.
Long-term friends. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Christina just said it's the cutest thing that they're buddies and they made the book stuff together.
But it's really good artwork though. Like it's not just you got a friend and it was crappy. It's legit.
The Fall of Babel cover looks amazing.
Yeah.
When they make the movie, they're all like the same.
When they make the movie, this needs to be the movie poster. Just like with the actor, like that would like make the fans so happy.
That would be awesome. Oh, I need y'all to read through the Hod King so the cover of the Fall of Babel makes sense to you. Like the cover doesn't make any sense unless you finished.
Yeah, I was watching the cover and I know I should get it, but I don't get it. I know that this means something, but I don't get it. I'm a graphic designer, so I'm obsessed with covers like that, and I always look at covers for.
That's awesome.
And I'm confused.
Yeah. do not click on it though, because in the description, like in the first sentence of the description of Fall of Babel, it spoils.
No, I wouldn't.
So do not.
I just saw it as an Instagram story, so just like the cover. So I read nothing about it. I'm safe.
So does anyone have theories for the rest of the series?
I mean, for book 2, I mean, Senlin has to become like a little pirate, right?
You'll see.
He stole a ship.
You'll see.
Read and find out.
Yeah.
So
RAFO.
the two things that mostly I keep on thinking of them from my tarot video. I'm going to go back to that for a second because there were two things that really stuck out to me. I think that one of the things that's going to happen, there's going to be Senlin confronting his emotions, and his relationship while doing his journey. That is going to get in there, and also there's going to be a moment where we really have to snap over his, I guess, boundaries in a way. Unless that's the two things that I keep on thinking about, but I wouldn't not know regardless.
I have theories, but they all spoil the second 2 books. So
yeah.
I've read spoilers because I'm addicted to spoilers, so I can't say anything.
my theory still stands that I don't see things ending well for our favorite couple at the end. I just think the tower's going to change them too much. But I still think they're going to be at the top of the tower. I think that Bancroft told us from the beginning, chapter 1, page 2 or 3, I'll see you at the top of the tower. I think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I agree. I think at the ending they'll see each other there for the first time once again. And they'll be on different sides, and it's going to be tough.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think things are going to be tough, but they will not be in opposite sides. Probably there's going to be like a test to pass or something like that to get there, but I don't see them being opposite sides. I think it's going to be tough. It's going to be tricky, but I don't know. I can't see them being opposite sides.
And I predict that the tower is destroyed at the end.
I would like that.
I just want to know what this tower is used for. Like
Fall of Babel, so bam.
Kristen agrees.
When are you reading Hod King, Klaus?
I think I'm going to read it with Evie, so in July or so. Yeah. Because Evie sent it to me, and then I read it with Evie.
Evie sent me all 3 of the Senlin books for my birthday.
Oh, that's so nice.
Evie is awesome.
So nice. He was amazing.
I love Christina's theory. I subscribe to that.
Christina's calling me out.
Christina
I feel
can
like
never-
that's such a Christina thing to say too.
Christina can never have a pessimistic view of how it's going to end. Like, that's not who my wife is. Like, she's the most optimistic person that I know.
I just need to like
Just
lower
like
my
carrots.
expectations so that I'm not totally disappointed. I'm doing the same thing with Rhythm of War right now. I know it's going to end badly, so I just need to like say everyone dies.
Ryan, you haven't finished Rhythm of War,
No,
aren't you?
no,
Is it so bad?
no. It's great. There's reasons, guys. Reasons.
Ryan,
interesting.
November.
Yeah, I agree with Evie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That concept of the parlor in itself is such a brilliant idea. All of these people acting, being in roles and doing those terrible things just because they think I have to play my role. It's completely awesome. And I can completely see that working with people. I can see that working. It's brilliant.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in that case, yes.
So we have just a couple minutes left. Is there anything else you guys want to throw in there?
Everyone should be reading Senlin Ascends. If you haven't read it, go read it. Oh my gosh, go read it. Join the hashtag Senlin Superfans.
Yes.
And if you're not a super fan after the first one, read the second two, and you will be.
November is coming quickly.
Oh man, it cannot get here fast enough. November 9th,
Guys,
I think. November 9th.
This is what we all need to do. We all need to go spam Orbit and tell them to give Alan a freaking arc of this book, guys.
Someone, like, I forget who it was, like, tagged Bancroft and said, hey, you need to give Alan an arc. And he's like, look, I'd love to give Alan an arc, but I don't actually control that. So I don't know. But
I tag Ellen in all of my Senlin.
Remember, I will pursue the arc relentlessly. So I'm gonna keep bothering Orbit to be like, hey, like, and my friend Abby, like, has been in contact with Orbit UK, and they're like, what kind of books are you looking forward to getting an arc? And she says Fall of Babel, and I'm like, why won't they talk to me? Like, is it just because I'm not in the UK? Like, talk to me, Orbit. Talk to me. If you're watching this, Orbit, I would like an arc of Fall of Babel.
I actually have a question. If you had to recommend a book to Senlin, what would that be?
If I recommend a book to Senlin,
Yeah.
not the Everyman's Guide to the Tower.
No.
But you would recommend Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
I mean, yeah.
I don't have an answer, by the way.
Not either.
The Bible.
I mean,
I would have him read.
Akatar.
I'd have him read Machiavelli's The Prince, so he understands how people in the tower are going to operate.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I think you should give them Lord of the Rings, and Klaus should write in the beginning, this is just like this book, except vertical.
Yep.
I like that one.
How to win friends and influence people.
Good one.
That's good.
How to influence people. You should know that you're my daughter. I taught you well.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us to
Thank
talk
you.
about
Super
Senlin.
fun.
Thank you.
I hope we
Yes,
can
thank you,
have
Kate.
future shows about the future books with at least some of you guys. Okay, Ryan has a thumbs up, so I will be hitting you up. Joanna, Klaus, Ellen, you're just automatically thrown in there. So
No choice.
Alan is morally obliged to join every Senlin live stream on the planet
I agree.
I love to
until
see
he gets
when
his
I
arc.
talk to people.
Yeah. The
if
thing
you
is,
guys haven't checked out their channels yet, I'll put them in the description for this video when it goes up. Go check out their channels, subscribe to them, please. If you guys have read the Red Rising series, Ellen and Klaus will be talking about Morningstar in just like a half hour, right? On
Yeah,
Ellen's channel, the Library of Allenxandria. So go join them, at least for the spoiler-free bit.
Yeah.
Just to support everyone. Thank you guys so much for joining us again. I love you guys. I love Senlin.
thanks, Kate.
And
Thank
we'll
you,
see y'all
Kate.
soon.
Thanks,
Yes,
Kate.
thank you so much for putting this on.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.